Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. I haven't done a list video for quite a while, so today I decided to do just that. But since I came up with this idea very late, this list is going to be sort of a random list that includes some random fragrances that won't be based on occasion, notes, or season, or anything at all. The fragrances that I'm going to show you today, the 10 fragrances that I'm going to show you today, will have only two things in common. First of all, I think they're good enough to be on this list. And second, I think that in my opinion, they're underrated. I'll kick things off with one of the lesser known Lattafa fragrances. This one is called the Confidential Private Gold. This is a perfectly unisex fragrance in my opinion. That's a crazy cheap alternative to fragrances like Tiziana Terenzi's Kirke or Xerjov's Herba Pura. Also, this could be considered as an alternative to Ambre Oud Gold Edition from Al Haramain as well. This is in the same style of perfumery. You have a nice fruity, slightly powdery, sweet fragrance that has an okay performance, actually above average performance, above average projection. As I said, it's crazy cheap. Usually costs around about $20 for a 100 ml bottle size. Perfectly unisex, brings this sort of a slightly like a shower gel or shampoo vibe to it. Feels sweet, powdery, clean, great for the warmer months of the year. Perfectly unisex. At number one, the Confidential Private Gold from Lattafa. The next fragrance is going to be another ultra cheap one. In fact, I think the first four fragrances in this list are all going to be super cheap. This one from the house of Pascal Morabito, and it's called Noir, or some places this is marketed as Sultan Noir. This is a very interesting fragrance, sort of a Middle Eastern style of perfumery in here, very reminiscent of something like red tobacco from Mancera. Uh, the opening to this fragrance can be a bit challenging. It's heavy on the incense note, which is mixed with an apple note. But once you get past that sort of a challenging and smoky opening, then this dries down to a very interesting mix of some cinnamon, some iris, some vanilla, some leather, some ouds. Performance here is well above average, projection well above average, price tag less than $20. As I said, ultra cheap. If you like things like Mancera's red tobacco and you want a cheap, super cheap alternative, then Sultan Noir from Pascal Morabito definitely needs some attention. The next ultra cheapie will be from the house of Saint Hilaire, and it's called Ombre Chic. This is a ultra cheap alternative to Valentino Uomo Intense. Again, another fragrance that usually costs less than $20 for a 100 ml bottle size. The bottle looks kind of plain, it has a super cheap feel to it, but scent wise this is actually surprisingly close to Valentino Uomo Intense. What this misses compared to the Valentino Uomo Intense is a slight freshness in the opening of Valentino Uomo, and then that strong leather accord on the dry down of Valentino Uomo Intense. But other than that, especially in the air, this is super close. Performance here also surprisingly good considering the super cheap price tag of this one. So if you're looking for a ultra cheap alternative to Valentino Uomo Intense, then you can check out the Ombre Chic from Saint Hilaire. The next ultra cheap fragrance, at least I was able to pick this one up for like an ultra cheap price tag, from the house of Armaf, the Marian Red. Now this fragrance is a part of the Marian line, which is one of the lesser known lines of Armaf, and lesser known fragrances as a whole from the house of Armaf. This one has an interesting bottle design, comes in red color. That's why probably most places this is marketed as a women's fragrance, although this is not. I just did a review of this fragrance. All in all, this is a very interesting mix. It's like mixing the YSL L'Homme DNA with YSL La Nuit de L'Homme DNA. Basically, you get sort of a best of both worlds. You get that fruity sweetness from the L'Homme line, and then you get that nice cardamom spiciness from the La Nuit de L'Homme line. It's a nice sweet and spicy fragrance that's very inoffensive, can work in my opinion very well for something like a date night, can be good for office usage as well. As I said, ultra cheap price tag. I snatched this bottle for something like $21-22, the equivalent of that amount of money. Performance here is above average, projection is sort of on the moderate side. The quality of the bottle is nothing spectacular, but all in all, I think the scent inside here definitely deserves some attention, and the price tag is super low for the Armaf Marian Red. At number 5, I'll show you a fragrance from the house of Rasasi, the Rasasi Fattan. This is a great, maybe one of the best alternatives to a fragrance like Terry d'Hermes. The main players here in the opening, you get a nice citrusy opening. There's a bergamot note in here, a nice grapefruit note in the opening here. Also quite a lot of spiciness from a pink pepper note, I think. And then on the dry down, you get some cedar, some patchouli, some sort of a sweet warmth from an amber note, and of course the main note of vetiver, and some oak moss as well. So on the opening, this revolves around things like citruses like grapefruit and bergamot with slight sort of a peppery note to it, and on the dry down, this is all about the mix of vetiver and oak moss with a touch of amber sweetness in here. Performance here above average, projection quite strong for about an hour and a half. Price tag very cheap. The only problem with this fragrance is the fact that it comes only in 50 milliliter bottle size, but you can usually pick one of those bottles for roughly around about $20, which I think still makes it a great choice, and as I already said, one of the best, if not the best, cheap alternatives to Terry d'Hermes. At number 5, the Rasasi Fattan. At number 6 is going to be another fragrance from the house of Armaf and their radical line of fragrances, the Armaf Radical Brown. Now, there are a few fragrances in this line of fragrances. I think there's a brown, a flanker that's called simply Radical. I think there's a blue Radical as well. This is not very well known in the community. It's a fragrance, very interesting fragrance that I don't think it's a direct clone of any other fragrance out there, but it's in the similar style of many other designer and niche fragrances. Main players here are cinnamon, pepper, tobacco, vanilla, some amber, cedar, vetiver. It's a sweet, warm, dense fragrance that I think works very well in the colder months of the year. As I said, I don't think it's a direct clone to any other fragrance, but it's a close to things like Parfum de Marly's Hero, to Bulgari's Men in Black, Pure Havana from Mugler, Insurrection to Wild as well. Super nice fragrance. I'm yet to do a full review on this one, but I've been really enjoying the Armaf Radical Brown. The next two fragrances are going to be from the house of Lattafa and their Pride line, the Lattafa, at number 7, the Lattafa Pride line Eternal Oud. Very interesting fragrance that comes in a very interesting bottle. I really like the design of this bottle. The cap is metal and has this sort of a tree on it. You get the same symbol on the front. Super sweet, super dense fragrance that is great for wintertime usage, is perfectly unisex, and it's a great alternative to Grand Soir from Francis Kurkdjian. The main players of this fragrance, in the opening, the sweet plum note, and then on the dry down, that super sticky sweet mix of vanilla, amber, and tonka bean with some ouds and benzoin on the side. As I said, very dense, very sweet, great for cold weather usage, perfectly unisex. Performance here is well above average, projection well above average. In fact, this can be quite strong for some people. But all in all, I really like the fragrance itself and the bottle. It looks great in my collection, and I think it will look great in anybody's collection. At number 7, the Eternal Oud from the Lattafa Pride line. And at number 8, the other Lattafa Pride line fragrance in this video, the Ishq Al Shuk Gold. Another super interesting fragrance, great for cold weather usage. This one has a spicy, sweet spicy opening with a sort of a slightly smoky vibe to my nose. I don't think an incense note is listed in the official breakdown, but my nose picks it up. It can be a bit challenging in the opening, but the dry down is absolutely fantastic. The dry down is a mix of suede leather, tonka bean, vanilla, amber, and some musk. Another unisex fragrance, great performance, great projection, heavy bottle like with all the other Lattafa Pride line fragrances. Price tag, if you can find this at discounters, you'll probably be able to snatch a bottle of this for around about the $40 mark, which I think is a great price for what you get. Unique scent, great for cold weather usage, perfectly unisex, as I said. At number 8, the Ishq Al Shuk Gold. At number 9, a very interesting fragrance from the house of Ajmal, Ambre Pimente. It's It's a very unique scent profile. This fragrance has a very interesting mix. It's at the same time, it's spicy, it's woody, it's fresh and sweet. There's a fantastic cardamom note in the opening of this fragrance that's super strong and super nice. On the dry down, you get a very interesting mix of some woods, some cedar. There's a bit of a musk in here as well, a slight warmth and sweetness from an amber note. Fantastic performance, fantastic projection, also a very high compliment factor, which was surprising for me. For the first, when I smelled this one for the first time, I didn't think that this will bring me a lot of compliments, but pretty much every time I'm wearing this fragrance, I pick up compliments. If you look at discounters, you probably end up finding this fragrance for somewhere around about $30 to $40, which I think is a great price. So if you like the note of cardamom, and if you're interested in a fragrance that has a very strong note of cardamom, then check out the Ambre Pimente from Ajmal. And at number 10, a fragrance from the house of Swiss Arabian, the Shaghaf Oud Azraq. Really like the bottle, the color combination of this bottle, you know, the gold and blue accents of the bottle. Very interesting fragrance that can be a bit challenging for people who are new to perfumery, especially to Middle Eastern style of perfumery. The opening, especially of this fragrance, can be a bit challenging. There's a strong, almost medicinal agar oud note in the opening of this fragrance that's mixed with a honey note that sort of slightly mellows that agar oud note. But once you get past that opening, the dry down is absolutely fantastic. On the dry down, you get cinnamon, you got vanilla, amber, patchouli, some leather. The dry down of this fragrance I really enjoy. The opening, as I said, can be a bit harsh, can be a bit challenging. Performance of this fragrance well above average, almost in the baseline sort of territory. Projection as well, quite strong projection for about 3 hours. Price tag, if you look at discounters, you can probably find this for somewhere around about $40, which I think is a great price for a super unique and interesting scent profile, and for the whole performance that you get out of this fragrance. If you like agar oud in your fragrance mixed with some very nice sweet notes, then check out the Shaghaf Oud Azraq from the house of Swiss Arabia. So guys, in today's video I showed you 10 good but at the same time underrated cheap fragrances. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. Stay safe, and I hope I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye bye.